Hey, welcome back to the channel, where your gun questions meet real answers. If we haven't met before, I'm Matt, and today we're answering your comments, from dry-fire lasers and red dots to bore snakes and bifocals at the range. If you left a comment recently, you might just see your name on screen, fame and fortune not included. And quickly, I'd like to say thanks to all of you that have liked, commented, subscribed, donated, used affiliate links, and shared. When I started this channel a few months ago, I was not expecting this much of a response. I went from 0 to 7,000 subscribers in less than a month. Simply amazing. Comment number 1, beginner-friendly gun for older shooter. At Joan Kimrig says, can you recommend a gun for a beginner who is in their late 60s, lightweight, and easy with less recoil? Joan, first off, welcome to the wonderful world of firearms. Starting in your 60s, that's called peaking wisely. For low recoil and easy slide operation, the Smith & Wesson Shield Easy in 9mm is an excellent choice. It was designed specifically for people who want a lighter spring tension and intuitive controls. The Glock 43X is another great lightweight option. It's slim, soft shooting, and reliable. And if you're recoil sensitive, consider a 380 ACP and something like a Ruger LCP Max. Just remember, shot placement is much greater than caliber size. Comment 2, red dot MOA size. At eCalzo says, which is your choice for pistol red dot, 3 MOA or 6 MOA? Thanks, I've got the 3 MOA for IDPA. Great question, and you're already ahead of the game by running optics in IDPA. Respect. I personally prefer 3 MOA for precision and also for combat. It lets you get tighter hits at distance and is ideal for competition or target work. But if your eyes aren't loving tiny dots or you shoot mostly up close, 6 MOA is faster to pick up, especially under stress. For IDPA, 3 MOA is a solid choice. Comment 3, holster for tack light. At Ku676 says, what holster are you using that fits your tack light as well? The eternal search for the holy grail, a holster that fits both your gun and your light. For duty or outside the waistband, and also in my dry fire video, I lean towards the Safariland with the ALS system. Mine also has a leg drop holster. Just make sure your holster is specifically molded to your weapon light combo. Close enough doesn't cut it with retention. And also remember, when you buy a holster that has the light supported, typically the retention is on the light and not the firearm. So later on, if you do remove the light from your firearm, it may no longer work with that holster. Comment 4, bore snake cleaning. At Ronald Fear, 4714 or Fire, sorry if I mispronounced that. I just found your channel and subscribed. I want your opinion on bore snakes. How do you clean the snake and how frequently? Ronald, welcome and thank you for subscribing. Let's talk about the bore snakes, the fast food of gun cleaning. They're great for a quick clean, especially at the range or when you're short on time. I rinse mine out with warm water and mild soap after every few uses, more often if I've run dirty ammo. Typically I'll put them in a bowl and let them soak and kind of agitate it and get it worked up and let it dry completely before storing it. Bonus tip, toss it in a mesh laundry bag and throw it in the wash cycle on gentle if you're feeling fancy. Comment 5, dry fire laser compatibility. Now this is a very important question. At Bill Ashton Nello says, will the dry fire laser work with all dry fire mags? I have an original. Some laser cartridges and dry fire mags don't play well together. For example, the dry fire mag replaces the magazine and resets the trigger, but it doesn't strike the primary area. So a traditional laser cartridge won't activate. They actually only work with the Sure Strike brand of lasers, and only with certain models and certain dry fire mags. So if you want both a reset and a laser, you'll need a setup like the Mantis Blackbeard X or a supported system within dry fire mag. Make sure you always check brand compatibility carefully. Comment 6, Dawson's sight height issue. At SMZR1HX says, great information, my Dawson front sight seems to be a bit high in relation to my rear sight. Could it be a mismatch like you mentioned? So the short answer is yes, and the long answer is probably. If your point of impact is low and your front sight looks like it might be a little bit high, like a periscope, you likely have a height mismatch. It does happen. Dawson's website has a calculator that helps match your front and rear for the desired point of aim. Measure both, compare to spec, and adjust accordingly. And this does happen with other manufacturers. So if you feel like it might be off, it probably is. Comment 7, how to aim at different distances. Now this was in relation to the pistol video. At Sidoyen GM 1525 says, nice. Can you make a video on how to aim at a target for the good distance 3, 5, 10, and 25 meters? No YouTuber took the time to do it. Thanks. Great point, and you're right. This gets glossed over a lot. So at your 0 distance, hold center, you'll hit point of aim. At any distances closer or further than that, the trajectory of the bullet is rising or dropping, so you have to aim lower or higher than what you're aiming at. This is a full video topic, and I'm adding it to the list. Thanks for the suggestion. Comment 8, dry firing Canik pistols. At Jirak Godoy 1276 says, is it okay to dry fire my Canik Prime, or do I need one of those special rounds for it? Now, Caniks are tough, and yes, dry firing is generally fine for modern pistols, with two major exceptions. If the manufacturer specifically says not to, then don't. But also, any rimfire pistols, .22s, or rifles should not be dry fired since the mechanism they use can be damaged without a round in the chamber. But using snap caps or dummy rounds is still a good idea. They protect your firing pin, and they also give you extra safety when practicing. You can also use them to simulate malfunctions and practice reloads. So, necessary? No. Recommended? Absolutely. Comment 9, shooting with progressive lenses. At Backriver15 says, what about shooting with progressive lenses? I can only focus on the front sight using the lower part of my glasses, and I end up with the wrong posture. Any tips? I use reading glasses during my shooting sessions. So there's a few different options. 1, use stick-on reading lenses like Hydrotac on your shooting glasses, positioned so you can actually get the proper head posture. You don't want to be dipping your head too much and hurting your neck. 2, you could switch to a red dot. This eliminates the focal plane issue and the need to focus on the front sight. And 3, you can get a shooting-specific prescription. Some optometrists will work with you to fine-tune for the front sight clarity. But whatever you do, don't sacrifice good posture just to chase focus. If your comment made it into this episode, thank you. And if not, leave one below and you just might be in the next round. I've got more deep dives, drills, and tips coming your way, so make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on. Check out my other videos to keep learning, and remember, there's no such thing as a dumb question, just unanswered ones. See you on the next one.